What's up, everybody? I'm here, I'm back, I'm making a video, and it's really been a disappointing channel for most of you, I'm sure, over the last 6-8 months because of my inactivity. And not gonna lie, I've gotten a lot of new followers or subscribers in the last little while, and they've gotten nothing from me. So much for reciprocity. But I am here today because I have some pretty newsworthy items to discuss. And above everything else, I'm making this video for a good friend, Parker Jolly, who has just continued to encourage me to do so. So thank you, Parker, for the encouragement. It is much needed. I have an overwhelming lack of motivation to continue posting on this channel. I still love Pokemon cards. The fire of Charizard's tail still burns deep within me. I've been contemplating a lot about legacy and what I'll be remembered for when I leave this life, and I just don't know that Pokemon YouTube videos is it for me, but I'd say it's still in play. Big news. I submitted to PSA a year ago in 2020 December. They actually entered my submission into their system on December 9th, 2020. I woke up this morning at 6:30 a.m. to a delivery being made at my door. It actually scared me. The timing is conspicuous. Nonetheless, I am extremely happy to have my submission back, and I will be going through it with you today. I made a video about the cards that I was submitting and some of my price predictions, and it'll be fun to kind of look back on those, see what the market was doing a year ago, see what it's doing today. Where was I wrong? Where was I right? Should I have sold those cards raw? Should I have gotten them graded? How did it all pan out? We'll be getting into it. I hope you guys enjoy this content and mostly market analysis and PSA grading unveiling. If you're new to the channel, don't expect much, but let's take a look at that video I made a year ago and do a bit of a recap here. Here it is. This is the video uploaded December 2nd, 2020, and here are the 10 cards that I was talking about. There they are. Look at them in all their glory. From top left on down, or on over and then down, we have the Evolutions Charizard Holo, Shining Charizard V from Champion's Path, Pikachu V Max, Secret Rare from Vivid Voltage, Latios Lovers Alternate Art from Team Up, Mewtwo GX from Shining Legends, Zacian V from Sword and Shield Base Set, Secret Rare, Shining Mew from Shining Legends, Pikachu Full Art Cosmic Eclipse, Magikarp Wailord, the Goat Cart Uyama's Masterpiece from Team Up Alternate Art, and then the Gardevoir Sylveon Alternate Art from Unbroken Bonds. 10 of my favorite cards in my collection, also 10 cards I had inspected pretty thoroughly and thought would warrant a good grade, hopefully 9s and 10s across the board on those. I did some market analysis back at the time of this video and determined what these cards would be worth as a lot if they all came back 10s, and here's what I came up with. You'll notice we have a outlier at the top with the Charizard Evolutions Holo at a PSA 10. At this time, when I made the video a year ago, it was going for $6,000. That is no longer the case. I'll show you a spreadsheet with some price analysis of today. Just know that that was at like the absolute peak of its powers, and it came back to earth a little bit. Also, that card's almost impossible to get graded in a 10 due to print lines. Everything else here, I didn't anticipate moving too much. I mean, other than predictable price variations and fluctuations as demand kind of goes up and down. So here is those price values. I also did some predictions of what I thought those cards would get graded. And here were my predictions. This was based on just a really thorough, honest inspection of each card and trying not to overestimate what I thought they would be. Most of these I pulled out of packs myself. They went straight in sleeves, they went straight in card savers, and then pretty soon thereafter went into a submission box to PSA. So there wasn't going to be any actual damage caused by me, but centering plays a big part in this. So does whitening or some edge wear that might have occurred before you even opened the pack. And a couple of these cards I did buy off eBay as singles, and you never know what you're going to get there. But they looked pretty good upon inspection. I thought 9s and 10s was going to be the outcome of this submission. So without further ado, let's actually take a look at what was returned to me. Now, let me be honest here. in a way that I don't feel all YouTubers or Pokemon collectors are. PSA sends you an email when those cards get done being graded and QA'd, and they have yet to ship the cards, but they're in the shipping process. And you can go on the website and check the grades before you get them at your door. And if you're like me and you have very little restraint, you go on the website and you check those grades right in that moment. And that becomes the exciting unveiling, unboxing for you personally, right there in front of your digital interface we call a computer. So that's what I did. I don't want to spoil the fun, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. You go to this page, it shows every step of the way that your submission's been moving. And it was showing shipped, but it hadn't produced a tracking number. And you'll notice the grades, they were all right there. So there they are. That's what it looks like. That's how I actually discovered the grades of these cards. Not right here in front of you. I know. I got no chill. I got no patience. I had to check it out. But I will take a look at them here now with you. So here at the top of the pack, we have the Evolution Charizard. And you'll see it is an 8. And that is not bad. And for this card, an 8 or a 9 is not going to make a huge difference, because if it's not a 10, it's not much of a commodity, unfortunately. There are several thousand 8s, several thousand 9s, and then a few hundred 10s. And so if you didn't get the 10 on that one, you got a decent collectible, but nothing to write home about. Here's my Pikachu VMAX. Oh, sorry, I got these a little out of order. Charizard V first. And there it is, the 10. So I was correct. That thing is perfect, all right? Whoop-de-doo. Same with Pikachu VMAX. Flawless card. I had 2 Latios Lovers Arts that I pulled from a case of blisters, 144 count. Got very lucky, pulled 2 of these, and both are 10s. That is a real winner. We'll talk about that in a second. Here's my Mewtwo GX. It's a 9, which I predicted. I don't think the centering was perfect on that one. There was some whitening. Zacian V10. Shining Mew. That's a 9. Pikachu Cosmic Eclipse. 9. This one surprised me. This is my favorite card ever, and it's a 10. So hallelujah. I actually bought a 10 of this because I didn't believe that mine would grade a 10. So now I got 2. And then Gardevoir Sylveon, that's a 9. So let me see what that looks like. Got those all in frame there. And that's the spread. We doubled up on the Latios. And we hit our predictions precisely, except for this came back 1 grade lower at an 8. And these 2 were flipped. I thought this would be 10, this 9. Ends up being the other way around, which is better for me. And I couldn't be more happy with this. I'm really glad I was honest about this and not bloating my expectations, thinking they were all going to come back 10s. Because now seeing the ones that did come back 10s, I'm thrilled. I'm pumped. It's as good as I could have hoped. I did some price analysis here. I looked at the cards as they were graded and did a kind of current value based on last sold. I threw out some outlier edge cases that seemed either too high or too low. Somebody got fleeced, or somebody just really got a steal. And these are the ones that seemed most accurate historically. If you add all this up, I have $2,700 worth of cards here, roughly, if I were to sell those today. And a lot of that is weighted in this $7.99 for the Latios. So if we actually times that by 2, which I haven't, that's just accounting for one of those, then we're closer to like 3,500. So that was the big winner of the lot. Here is in December 2020, if they were all 10s, just to give you a price comparison year over year to see what the market's done. Here's what we were looking at. There is a huge discrepancy with the $6,000 on that Evo Charizard 10. And that would have been a $10,000 lot right there. Now, if you look at it today in all 10s, you're looking at $5,600. So that's what the market's done. The price on that Evo Charizard came down by 58%, by $3,500, and that almost accounts for the difference. So where you see these other fluctuations, like the Pikachu V Max going down from 1,000 to 650, or the shiny V Charizard going down from 1,000 to 400. It's made up for by some of the increases here with the team up set, like the Latios Lovers art going double, the Magikarp Wailord going double, the Sylveon Gardevoir going double on Unbroken Bonds. And so those kind of equal out in some way. The market hasn't been too crazy, really, if you look at it year to year. You have this life cycle of a card where it first comes out, there's tons of hype, especially if it's a much anticipated set. The set gets released, it's hard to find. The value of those cards spikes. It kind of creates a miniature bubble. People in the first few months might really be rushing to make sure that they get their hands on the cards that they really like in that set, or just get the sealed product of that set. What that does is inevitably creates a kind of downward curve of value once the next set is released, and all that attention shifts gears. So we saw that with Champion's Path, we saw that with Vivid Voltage, and it takes about a year, maybe 2 years for that price to settle before it'll start climbing back up again. And that's what we're seeing with the Team Up set and the Unbroken Bond set and the Unified Mind set. So there wasn't even as much hype going on back then when those sets were first released, but those sets probably did have a smaller little bubble created around the initial release, and then it calmed down, and then after 2 years you start to see that slow growth appreciation. That's the curve you're looking for. So what's happening right now with this Magikarp and what's happening right now with this Latios, that's what you're really going for as a collector. Is there's no more recency bias surrounding the card. It's truly just its value that's showing the rise in price. And you don't have to worry about massive changes in population, because you got to understand too, it took me a year to get these cards graded from the time I submitted them to the time they showed up at my doorstep this morning. And in that time, you have hundreds and thousands of other collectors who are also opening product and sending in their submissions. And so you cannot trust the population of a card probably within the first 2 years that set has been released. But then after 2 years, you can probably look at those population reports and have some confidence that they're going to stay in that ballpark. There's not a ton of people rushing out to the store to crack open that product. There are collectors sitting on sealed product, but who knows when or if they'll ever open it at that point, if it's already been a couple years. So that is my word of warning. You know, if I could have rushed and got this Charizard V and this Pikachu V Max back within like a month, I could have sold them for a few $100s more than what I can sell them for now. But it would have costed me a lot more at PSA. And if I just hold them, then in 2 years, they're going to start to experience that growth trajectory that I'm talking about. And that's what I'm in it for, is not a flip, not a flop, but a hop, skip, jumpity jump into next decade. You feel me? So I found this very interesting, that the market is actually calmed a lot. I think people have been talking about this in Pokemon. It's starting to normalize. It's good. It's not bad. I see sets that I can get my hands on at my card shop. I can finally get booster boxes. You know, I just want predictable patterns with supply, and that's starting to happen. I think mostly the scalpers are coming out of the market, and that's causing some of the hype cards of the moment to lose their value. But some of the actual good, like, hallmark cards of the big sets are still holding their value, because it's collectors driving those markets, like this Magikarp Wailord, which I've talked about at length. But let me just reassert the fact that this is a one-of-a-kind card. It's iconic. Uyama's only done one full art card. Who knows if he'll do another? And this is it. And his art style, one of the most unique of any of the Pokemon cards, like him and Komiya and a couple of the other illustrators. They just have instantly recognizable art, and Magikarp and Wailord is such a whimsical pairing. That's going to be a great card. People will continue to look at that card as more cards are released, because they'll continue to realize that there's never been a card made quite like it. So I find that to be a really worthy investment. Not only that, the population's like a few hundred, in the tens, you know? So here I am. Pretty fun. I am thrilled. I submitted a bunch of other cards too. There were 24, and here they are. Out of the 24 that I submitted, which I looked at very closely, 14 of them came back 10s, and then there were 10 that were 9s and 1 8. So only 1 8 of the 24 cards I submitted. I was extremely happy with that. And if you want to see what the whole PSA side of things looks like on their site, here's what it looks like. It shows you each step of the way. I have some other orders submitted that you can see are still in grading. I can tell you just roughly based on my experience, I submitted most of these cards back in December, January, March, like through that time. And it will show you the date that they actually were entered. And then you'll see about a month or 2 months after that is when they actually, when they arrived versus when they are entered. Because they just sit there probably collecting dust for a couple months before they even get them entered into their system. So this shipment that I sent in January didn't get entered until March. And it's been in the grading phase for, 3 or 4 months, maybe 3 months. Research and ID is the longest phase that you can expect based on my experience, like 5-6 months in research and ID, then 3-4 months in grading. And then once it hits assembly, things start moving, man. I think it was like a couple weeks. QA check, that was a couple days. QA check, that was a couple days. Then shipping. And I'm in Utah, they're in California. It didn't take long before they were here. So you really see movement once you hit assembly. But expect research and ID to take forever. And expect grading to also take forever. I don't know that that will depend too much on how many cards, like 32, that seems not massive, but it's also not like one card. I guess if you submitted one card, it might be a lot different. And some of my other ones here, I think they're all in grading, despite them being sent in a couple months apart. This one hasn't even hit grading yet. It's still in research and ID. They received that in May, and I would expect it to pop into grading here soon. So maybe grading is more like 2 to 3 months, but research and ID, that's a beast. You got to get through that one, then you start feeling a lot better. So a year, this isn't I wouldn't recommend doing this if you're just in it for quick cash, the whole grading thing. I really think it's for collectors who want to keep most of these cards. I don't plan on selling any of these. I have submitted a bunch more here. When I get those back, if I have duplicates of some of these higher value ones, I might consider selling those. But at the same time, I feel like the market has cooled to a very reasonable level. I'm not sure it favors buyers or sellers, other than maybe around very specific cards, but just in general, I think it's a pretty fair market. So I don't want to jump to any conclusions just yet. I would like to see where things go. A new generation of Pokemon is sure to come at some point, and maybe that will renew the hype of the hobby. And when that hype gets renewed, people will start to look back at the pandemic era cards and that massive boom that we just experienced, and that might be a good time to unload some of these like Charizard V, like Champion's Path Vivid Voltage cards. So that's probably what I'll do. But in the meantime, I'm just sitting on some awesome slabs and honestly loving my life. Super happy to finally have these cards back. And I hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at what those are worth. And thank you for subscribing to the channel despite me being a very absent creator. I had a second child this year and it was very busy, as you can imagine, with me and my wife both working regular jobs, trying to account for everyone. But also, like I said, I'm just unmotivated. So if you think you have any wise words of counsels that can really light a fire up under my bum, throw them down in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll probably make another video in a few months. And see you then, Bug Brigade. Peace.
Pull the shiny Charizard, I'm feeling so alive, yeah. I am like a legendary flying through the sky, yeah. Put you in a binder, you know I could treat you right. Sleeves on top of sleeves, great intense is what I like. Yeah, I promise this is not a fad, it's so much more than hype. Yeah, I've been cracking packs since the time that I could write back. I was just a kid saving quarters on his nightstand just to pull another item finder from a light pack. Pay to grip, I'ma blow it quick. Pray to Pikachu we hit, or I'll throw a fit. Like the tail on Charizard, gotta keep it lit. I'm getting fired up, need to take a sit. Yeah, I could hear the sound of foil rappers in my dreams. It's like music to my ears, I can hear it sing. And the smell of carbo freshly packed and super clean. I'm addicted to the feeling that this hobby brings. Yeah, pull the shiny Charizard, I'm feeling so alive. Yeah, I am like a legendary flying through the sky. Yeah, put you in a binder, you know I could treat you right. Yeah, sleeves on top of sleeves, great intense is what I like. Yeah, I promise this is not a fad, it's so much more than hype, man. I've been cracking